We're going to call tonight's meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, hi, Dr. Nold.
Hello.
I hear you have the good news report this evening for us.
I do. We got the backup in today. She has laryngitis or something very similar, at least for the moment being. It's momentary. I do have the good news report this evening, and I'm just going to read this proclamation off. And this is an executive proclamation by the state of South Dakota and the Office of the Governor. Whereas the education of our public school children is vital to our state's prosperity and to the opening of doors of opportunity for every citizen, and whereas the 845 men and women serving on public school boards are dedicated local leaders who devote many hours of community service to provide a responsive and transformative public education system to maximize South Dakota's investment in public education, and whereas local public school board members believe all children can learn and are committed to improvement, excellence, and progress in public education, and whereas a local school board devotes great time and effort to planning curriculum, policy, activities, and programs that enhance the experience of and the environment for all students, as well as staff, and also best suit their communities, and whereas the members of the local public school board build stronger relationships within their communities to ensure the success of their school district, and whereas we encourage local public school districts and their community leaders to recognize their dedicated public school board members. Now, therefore, I, Larry Roden, Governor of the state of South Dakota, do hereby proclaim February 16th, 2026 as the 2026 South Dakota School Board Recognition Week in South Dakota. Signed by Governor Larry Roden. So we just want to take this time to say thank you. We often know that school board officials are often doing incredible work to make sure that our public schools are safe places where kids can go to school, and we fulfill that mission to gain an education. And when it was truly said in there for all students, we truly mean that. Every single student is welcome to our schools and come into our school to gain that education. And it's individualized for each and every child that they can take the program that they need. And you as the school board is the heart and soul of that. You set the policy, you set the programming, you set the road and the path for us to be able to follow. So we thank you for your efforts, your dedication. The time that it takes often goes unnoticed, but not unnoticed by those individuals that you are impacting. So we thank you for the work that you do on a continual basis, and we just want to express our appreciation. Next week is the week of the school board recognition, but obviously we do not have the meeting next week, so we wanted to make sure that we recognized it now here today. So thank you for the work that you do, and we do have a small token of appreciation that we'll hand to you at this time.
Wow, thank you.
You may be able to tell that Mr. Conrad colored one card and Dr. Zeke colored the other. You will guess which is which.
Just for thought. Very nice.
I'm joking. They were all signed by different people. But thank you for the work that you do, and that's obviously just a small token of our appreciation. You'll see in one of the cards that many of the elementary students had signed that in appreciation for what you do. And so we thank you for that. Ms. Duffy, we will get you yours as soon as we possibly can, but next week is a week of recognition for our school board members. And again, we thank you. We will have an upcoming session for anybody interested ever in becoming a school board member, whether it's this year or years to come in and get an informational message, and we'll get that information out to our community. But we want to make sure that we thank and recognize the board members that we have now. So a sincere thank you. The second half of our recognition is with our kindergarten and junior kindergarten, and Ms. McDaniel will give that information.
Good evening, and thank you for all you do as our school board members. I'm here this evening to share information about our junior kindergarten and kindergarten kickoff, coming to you from elementary programming as we begin recruiting for our 2039 and 2040 graduates, if you can imagine. On March 12th from 4 to 6, our elementary buildings will welcome new players to our kickoff event for the 26-27 season. All families who have a 5-year-old on or before September 1st of 2026 are welcome to the event being hosted at our elementary buildings. The event is an opportunity to get a glimpse into kindergarten classrooms, meet teachers, and engage in some fun learning activities to set the course for their K-12 trajectory. If parents are unsure or families are unsure about sending their child to kindergarten, we do have an option for our junior kindergarten program. And again, this is just a great opportunity for families to come, have conversations with classroom teachers, with administration about the experiences that they would have in junior kindergarten. We have 3 locations across the city. JFK is on our southwest side, Robert Frost right here in central Sioux Falls, and our newest location for 26-27 will be Terry Redland Elementary in our northeast quadrant. After finding the best fit for your player, you can be assured they will have championship programming. They will have instruction in reading, writing, math, science, and social studies, and then an abundance of opportunities to build relationships with their classmates along the way, focusing in on those social skills. Our online registration is open for both kindergarten and junior kindergarten at this time. Families can navigate to the district webpage and begin the process. And then in addition to the online registration process, we would ask that families have their child's birth certificate, immunization records, and 2 forms of address verification to complete that registration process. And that paperwork can be delivered to their home attendance centers on March 12th or just prior to school starting. So again, that March 12th opportunity is a chance for us to welcome our new players to the team and get them ready for the Sioux Falls School District.
Quick question for you, point of clarification. If they have a pre-kindergartner, can they also attend March 12th but go to either JFK, Robert Frost, or Terry Redland, or will they have their own kickoff?
Yeah, so the kindergarten and junior kindergarten event is for kids who will be 5 by September 1st of 2026.
Excellent.
And so they can go to their home attendance center. We always just say, if parents are kind of in that lurch of, are they ready for kindergarten? Are they not ready for kindergarten? Go to your home attendance center, explore that option, and then know that we have that junior K program at 3 sites.
Good, thank you.
Yep. Any other questions? All right. Fantastic, thanks so much.
Thank you. Okay, can I get an approval of the minutes of the meeting held on 1/26/2026?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Thank you, Elizabeth. That is passed. We do not have persons addressing the board, so we will move on to agenda item number 7, approval of the agenda for tonight's meeting. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
We have an agenda approved. Seeing no conflicts of interest, we will move on to approval of the consent agenda. That is items A through G. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda items A through G?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. Dr. Knoll, we are quickly down to item 10, reports of the superintendent.
Well, this first report that we have is kind of a culmination, or especially at least adding on to the information that we've provided earlier. So before, you've heard a little bit about early childhood, with especially specifically for special education and our birth to 3 programming. To help put that into perspective, we also showed some of the things that a good news report with the assistive tech. So to see the overall picture that's presented with that and how many students we truly impact with our special services programming, Ms. Kennedy is going to give you some information tonight that'll really highlight the numbers and look at the overall scope of that, so you can kind of see and put that into perspective. So her report will really give you that information behind the numbers in the Sioux Falls School District. So Ms. Kennedy.
Thank you for that, Dr. Nold. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me here today to provide the Special Education Board report for you. I'm going to start out with some demographics, followed by a little bit of information on our programming, and then I want to finish up with some exciting things we have in the near future, and then finally I want to wrap up with some goals and outcomes that we want for all of our students. What you see on your screen in front of you right now is the last 5 years worth of the December 1 child count. Remember, it's our December 1 child count that drives our special education need. This drives our special education state aid. So these numbers are very important. You can see here, 2025, we had an all-time high of 4,437 students. That is 204 students more than what we had a year ago. I also want to highlight that this number is for students ages 3 through 21. This does not include the 117 kids that we serve birth to 3. The state collects those numbers in a different fashion. When I talk about our child count and I talk about the numbers going up, I always get the same question. Which areas are you seeing the biggest growth in? And you can see on your screen on the left side of there, we have 4 disabilities that we are seeing growth. One is speech language disorders. The next is autism, followed by developmental delay and multiple disabilities. And then in the parentheses next to that, that's how many students we increased by. Note that we have one category that we saw a decrease in. Our largest decrease was emotional disabilities. The other question I get is, what is the most common disabilities that you serve in the Sioux Falls School District? There are 3 I want to highlight. One is specific learning disabilities. That is our largest population. We have over 1,000 students with a specific learning disability. It's not surprising that's a high number, because a learning disability can cover anything from math, reading, writing, oral, listening. It covers just a broad area. Next is speech language disorders. That number's been on the rise for a while since COVID, so it's not surprising that's second. And then finally, our 3rd largest disability is autism spectrum disorder, and that has been on the rise for the last several years as well. When we take a look at the numbers for our December 1 count, I can tease these numbers and play with these numbers in a lot of different ways, and I want to kind of show you what I do when we talk about how do we plan for programming, how do we plan for budget. I have just one way to slice and dice our data here for you. What you're looking at in front of you here is your disabilities by grade level. Right off the bat, you're probably looking at 3rd grade. Wow, Denise, why is 3rd grade so high in students with disabilities? That's not surprising either, because one of our disabilities only goes from birth through age 9. That would be developmental delay. What grade are you in when you're 9 years old? 3rd grade. So many of our kids, once they stop qualifying for developmental disabilities, they don't qualify for any other category area. And that's a good thing. That means we caught them early, gave them some early services, got them caught up to speed with the rest of their peers. The other thing I want you to focus on is look how our numbers go down a little bit as we get closer to high school. We want to catch our kids up and get them as high functioning as possible when they get to high school, because if they don't achieve every single one of those credits, they don't get a standard diploma. And it always seems to be Algebra 1 is always the kicker for a lot of students. Doesn't matter if you have a disability, if you don't pass that class, you don't get a standard diploma in the state of South Dakota. Instead, we have a certificate of completion. It looks the same, but they're 2 different documents. Finally, I want to draw one more thing to your attention here. If you look at 5th grade and 8th grade, 5th grade, you'll see we have well over 350 students in our 5th grade right now. Then you go to 8th grade, we have under 250 students. Think about your middle schools now. You have a lower number of kids leaving middle school and a higher number of kids coming into middle school. What does that mean? We have more kids coming into our middle school next year with disabilities. That means we need to be aware of that, we need to plan that, we need to prep for that. I bring that to your attention now because I know in about a month, I'm gonna be in front of you again talking about my budget. So this is just a little teaser on one of the things I might be speaking about in another month. But anyway, I can slice and dice this data any way we see fit. It gives you different information how you look at it. All right, how do students qualify for special education? We have 13 different categories that kids can qualify under. In order to qualify for special education or an IEP, an individual education program, we have to complete a comprehensive evaluation, and that is done by a multidisciplinary team. That means it's done by more than one person. So typically you'll have your school psychologist, you'll have your case manager, your teacher. If there's speech concerns or fine motor concerns, you'll have those other specialists that play a part in that evaluation also. When we do the evaluation, we compare it to the criteria. The state of South Dakota sets that criteria. So we do the eval, we compare it to their criteria, and it's pretty easy to determine if a student qualifies for a disability or not. In special education, we have several obligations that we are legally obligated to follow. One of our obligations is child find. It is our obligation to seek out and find students in our community that have disabilities, locate them, evaluate them. If they qualify, we provide services. Most of our child find obligations, our child finds come through teacher referrals. That's probably the most common way we find students, is teachers will refer them for an evaluation. But we also get referrals from physicians, daycare providers, and even parents. Now, just because you qualify for disability doesn't mean a student is on that IEP for the entirety of their educational career. There are ways for those services to end. Students are considered for a reevaluation every 3 years. That means every 3 years there's the potential that they will no longer qualify. Parents can also revoke consent. We don't advise it, but it's a right that they have. When students graduate with a standard diploma, they also are no longer eligible for special services through the Sioux Falls School District. Or they might not get that standard diploma, but they might leave us with a certificate of completion, meaning they met all of the goals on their IEP and we've done everything we can do for them and they're ready for the next phase of their life. Or students can age out. We are obligated to serve kids through the age of 21. We have a full continuum of services. Our birth to 3 services are held in the student's home environment, our most comfortable environment. And then you'll see that we have programs all throughout the district here. Now, we do have resource rooms in every home attendance center, but we do have 30 program locations across the Sioux Falls district. For our early childhood, we have blended programs and specialized programs in 9 of our elementary buildings. Then there's our RISE programs. RISE stands for Reaching Independence Through Structured Environment. That is a pre-K through 12th grade program for students who have a lot of cognitive needs, adaptive needs, social skills needs. Sometimes the students with autism or cognitive delay that are in those programs, but you don't need a certain category to be served in that program. It goes off of their needs. That's a common program. Those are in 17 of our buildings. We have 2 buildings that house our behavior programs, and our 18 to 21 transition program, known as Community Campus, is in 2 different buildings. And that's where I'm going to take you next to our future. Our community campus is growing, just like everything else, and we are projecting 115 students in our 18 to 21 transition program next year. That is an all-time high. So right now, Jeff Kreider and his team are working on revamping the 2nd floor of the Learning Lab. We will have over 15,000 square feet for our students to come together, staff to come together, and work on those transition goals. With this additional space, we are really looking at our intentionality and our transition programming. What we're finding is the programs for adult services, they're going through the same things we are. They're going through staffing issues, financial issues. We are finding that it is getting more and more difficult for our kids to qualify for adult services, which means we need to be aware of that because we have some high expectations for our kids and we want them to leave us and have successful lives. So what that means is we have an end goal for our kids, but they need to come into the community campus with a certain set of skills as well. What we're doing is revamping our RISE programs, and we are vertically aligning and being very strategic with our pre-K through 12th grade RISE programs. So they come into the transition program with a solid set of skills for adaptive communication. They can learn how to be independent, By then, they learn some problem-solving skills, kind of learn some grit, and just being able to work through those tough times. If we can get them to that point at transition, then we know that by the time they leave transition, they are going to be well taken care of for the rest of their lives. There are 4 goals that we want for every student that leaves the Sioux Falls School District out of the Special Services Program. We want 1 of 4 for all kids. We either want them to leave us and go to post-secondary education or post-secondary training, or we want them to leave us to be independently employed, or we want them to qualify for supportive employment or qualify for adult services. And I'm super passionate about this end goal. Everything we do needs to end up with this right here, because if students leave us just to go home and sit on the couch, we didn't do our job. We have to make sure our kids are taken care of by the time they leave us. So this is our end vision. At this point, I get really passionate at this point, but this is where I'm going to come to an end and close it. And I will ask if you have any questions, and if you don't, I'll ask for an approval.
Stand by. Can I get a motion to approve the special services report?
Second.
Okay, now we're going to open up for discussion. I want to start where we left off with the goals and hear, if you can, a few of the stories about students moving into that independence, because it's such an important role that we play for our community, and that we're seeing the potential that these students have, and getting to see the growth, and that serves well to the excitement and the passion that you have.
Absolutely. 2 weeks ago, you had our assistive technology team in front of you, and they work hand in hand with everything I'm speaking about tonight. When I talk about the intentionality of all of our programs, we don't want our programs to work in isolation or in silos. They're all connected. They all build upon each other. So in elementary, we want our kids to learn foundational skills on how to behave in school, how to make friends, how to socialize. When they get to middle school, then we're working on their independence. How do I get from class to class, and how do I work on this without an adult, being by me the entire time? When I get to high school, we're purposely going to make things a little bit challenging to teach them how to work through those problems. That communication piece is a big part of it too. When you talk about independence, we have a lot of students who can work and work in the employment in the Sioux Falls School District, in the Sioux Falls community. But for example, if they can't read, if they're reading on a 2nd grade level, but they go to work and they have to read their directions, that assistive technology you saw 2 weeks ago, if they can just take their device and have it accessible that way, now they can do the job completely on their own. When we get them to the transition program, we want them to be able to walk into their environment, be able to pull up what their responsibility is, stay in their work environment, be able to ask for help, be able to wait for help, be able to accept the word no or accept rejection, and be able to problem solve a little bit. The thing with special education kids is sometimes we help so much that we're right there every second of the day. As adults, to be successful, we have to be able to work through the tough times, and we have to learn to be patient. And that goes for our kids with disabilities too. It's all a part of making sure that we are expecting a lot out of them as well. We want high expectations for all kids.
Excellent. Gail?
So kind of continuing with the 4 goals that you have for kids. When you move into your new space at Southeast Tech for the community campus, will you be able to expand the programming and how you serve those kids and have them reach those 4 goals?
Oh, you are speaking my language. In the near future, I really invite you and encourage you to have Dr. Nikki Whiting come and do a board report on what we're doing at the community campus too. We do have some wildly exciting things coming this direction too. Part of it, yeah, we do. We got some new curriculum. There's some dedicated space in that building that has a definite intention to it. I'm looking at Dr. Knoll because I don't know if I can say a whole lot about it yet.
We can't yet, but we do have some we will have with some partnerships, and that's one of the goals that we've had, is to continue to create and foster partnerships with our community and surrounding communities. And so I have some great information. It just isn't ready yet, but we'll present that information at an upcoming work session, and it'll be great news.
I really wanted to share it today. He knows this.
Don-Marie?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Eagerly await that report.
And I'm sorry, to answer your first question, that space should be done by mid-July. And yes, we will be doing tours. We look to do some exciting things for that opening. So absolutely, we want to invite you out for a tour and show you all the great things that are going to be occurring there. So we'll keep you updated, okay?
Excellent. Well, when we say public schools serve all kids, that's exactly what we mean. We're meeting them where they're at and getting to see the growth and their independence, or that they transition into more of a lifelong program. Whatever the case may be, we meet them where they're at, and thank you for your leadership and coming up with a plan and carrying that out. We appreciate it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have approved your report. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
The second report we have this evening is a sort of a good news report as well. This report is going through a lot of the benefits that we have for the staff of the Sioux Falls School District. And as we get into this time of hiring, where we begin that process, it's a great time to be able to just emphasize and show the things that we're able to provide our staff as part of the benefits package with the Sioux Falls School District and where that ranks statewide as far as our overall compensation. So Ms. Dorman will give that information.
Thank you, Dr. Nold. An attractive and competitive employee benefit package is a critical component of the district's ability to recruit and retain high-quality staff in an increasingly competitive labor market. While salary is an important factor, benefits play a significant role in employees' overall compensation and long-term commitment to an organization. So where we'll be going this evening, as we are going to discuss the district's benefits as a core component of total compensation and staff retention. We're going to discuss the offerings of the district, including medical, wellness, income protection, retirement benefits, and leave benefits. You'll see where we, as a district, have made a significant investment that emphasizes affordability for staff, access, and again, that long-term sustainability. And then programs that support well-being, workforce stability, and also emphasize our staff excellence priorities. This slide here is data taken from the South Dakota Department of Education. In terms of teacher compensation, including now both salaries and benefits, the district remains highly competitive in South Dakota. Among the 148 districts statewide, Sioux Falls ranks third, with an average total teacher compensation of $84,352, underscoring the district's strong investment in both direct wages and comprehensive benefits as part of its overall compensation strategy. Now, if we were to look specifically at our first-year teachers coming into the district, their total compensation, including benefits and their salary, would be about $71,000. Now taking a look at the national level, I have a slide here with NEA salary data that they've published, and then making some public sector averages and assumptions to come to this data. There is no single data set that ranks total teacher compensation, salary plus benefits by state at the national level. So we are going to use the NEA data that they've published and then some cost benefit assumptions. Understanding how the district teacher compensation compares to state and national benchmarks is important as we continue to focus on our workforce. South Dakota remains a lower paying state for educators. We rank between 45th and 50th in total compensation, which creates challenges for South Dakota to compete nationally for teacher talent. But as we look at this slide, we notice that the district performs well. Our average teacher salary of $62,632 exceeds the state average, and when combined with our benefit investment, brings total teacher compensation to $84,352. Benefits represent approximately 34.7% of this total compensation and reflects the district's commitment to employee health and long-term stability. While looking at the chart, you'll notice we are still below the national average, but our total compensation significantly closes that gap. It places us ahead of nearly every district in South Dakota and allows us to compete with many districts across the country. Nationally, our teacher compensation is estimated to rank between 30th and 40th. Now we're going to dive in a little bit into the benefits that make up our total teacher compensation, but we're going to start with our district insurance committee, which is responsible for guiding decisions related to our employee benefits, including medical, dental, life and disability, supplementary, or any other ancillary benefits. This committee is important because it is made up of representatives from all 8 bargaining groups. Representation from the school board, the business manager, and human resources is also present on this committee. This committee works very closely with Brown & Brown, the district's benefit advisor, to support informed decision-making and the long-term sustainability of our benefits program. Our district insurance committee has several guiding principles as we analyze benefits for our staff. We're looking at broad provider access and network coverage, flexibility for the diverse needs of our employees. We emphasize prevention, wellness, and income protection benefits. We look to be fiscally responsible so that we can be sustainable long-term. And then, of course, we want top quality customer care for staff. Our employees who work 20 hours a week or more are eligible for our benefits. This would not include any temporary substitute or contracted staff. Overall, between the K-12 district and Southeast Technical College, we have 3,700 employees who are eligible for benefits. We also cover spouses and children up to age 26 in our insurance programs. There are some general extensions for unmarried children who are still in college. They can stay on until they're 30, or unmarried disabled children have a longer term on our insurance as well. All new hires must enroll within 31 days, and then their elections are locked in for the year. We also offer COBRA coverage for qualifying events. Now looking at our core health benefits, which of course medical comes to mind. Our medical plan is administered by Wellmark. They are the provider network. They process our claims and provide customer service. Our plan structure is a PPO, or a preferred provider organization, which gives our employees flexibility to see a wide range of doctors and specialists with the lowest out-of-pocket costs when care is received from the providers within that network. Also, our medical plan is self-funded. This means the district pays the actual costs of the health claims rather than purchasing a fully insured plan. Wellmark serves as the claims administrator, but the district is financially responsible for the claims. This approach allows the district to maintain greater control over plan design, tailor benefits to meet employee needs, and to maintain costs more effectively over time. Our medical plan, including employees and all the dependents, covers over 7,700 lives. We have tiered coverage of single, employee plus one, and family. We have a $500 deductible and then a $1,000 deductible for family, meaning 2 people in a family could meet a deductible and the family's deductible would be met. And then our out-of-pocket maximum is $6,000 for single and $12,000 for family. Now, we pulled some information from an annual survey that the HR department completes along with other districts from South Dakota. It's a survey from the school administrators of South Dakota. This chart compares premium costs for the various coverage tiers and corresponding deductibles from area districts plus Rapid City. You can see by looking at the data on this page that our district's health plan fares well next to our neighbors. This is another important slide to discuss medical cost sharing. The district covers approximately 72% of all of the medical costs, while the employees cover 28%. Now, the employees' 28% is made up of their out-of-pocket costs like deductibles, co-payments, co-insurance, and as well as the premiums they pay through their payroll deductions. For comparison, we take a look at the 2025 Millman Medical Index report, and we notice that the average is 58% of employee coverage versus our 72%, and that leaves employees to pick up the remaining 42%. The district's cost-sharing approach reflects that we have a high investment in our employees' health benefits, helping to maintain affordability for staff while supporting the long-term sustainability of the plan. The district offers vision insurance, and if you happen to be a member of the medical plan, your vision insurance is included with your medical benefits. The highlights of that plan include a $10 office copay for your office visits, and then you get reduced cost or free lenses, frames, and contacts. If you're not a member of the medical plan, but an employee would want coverage for themselves or their family, they are able to purchase it through payroll deduction. Our core health benefits also include Delta Dental. We have a couple of options. We have a standard plan and an enhanced plan to give employees the flexibility to choose the best fit for their dental needs and their household budget. And I spoke earlier that wellness and prevention was one of the key fundamentals that our district insurance committee focuses upon. And we've had a wellness program for several years. I think we're beyond 15 years of having a wellness program, but we are in our second year of working with Navigate Wellbeing Solutions. It's voluntary and it's confidential, but if employees on the plan and their spouses participate, they can receive a premium reduction of $45 each for each person, so that could be $90 a month. Our participation is between 65% and 70% typically, which is above average when you look at other incentivized wellness programs. And to successfully complete the program, employees need to see their doctor annually. They need to complete a wellness survey and then engage in some wellness programming. We have another option, and it's called Included Health, that helps support wellness and health programming for staff. And it brings us the Doctors on Demand program, which is virtual medical and behavior health care. These virtual office visits are at no cost to the employee. Another no-cost option for employees would be the ability to get a second opinion on maybe a medical diagnosis or a medical situation. And then they also have free access to care navigation, whether someone has received a difficult diagnosis or you're not exactly sure what other treatment options might be available to you. Included Health can help support you with that. Now we're moving on to our income protection benefits. So life insurance falls under this umbrella. We have a life insurance plan through Lincoln Financial. The district offers many term options for employees that fits their budgets and coverage needs. We also offer life insurance for spouses and dependents. Lincoln Financial Group also administers our long-term disability program, which once someone is disabled for 180 days, they can replace 60% of their income while they are still disabled at a very affordable cost. Additional income protection benefits include short-term disability, and employees, especially newer employees, may wish to purchase short-term disability to help get them to the 180 days where long-term disability would kick in. Employees can coordinate their short-term disability with their existing sick leave benefit to help stretch their income as far as possible while they're going through a personal health crisis. The district also operates a sick leave assistance program, which provides up to 30 additional paid days of sick leave after a waiting period is met for long-term personal illnesses. We offer MetLife coverage for accident, cancer, and hospitalizations, and then farmers, home, and auto coverage options for those that wish to look into them. The district offers a flexible spending program through WageWorks that allows employees to set aside pre-tax dollars to pay for eligible healthcare and dependent expenses to reduce their overall out-of-pocket costs for these qualifying expenses. South Dakota Retirement System is a defined benefit plan administered under state law, where the employee contributes 6% and the district matches that 6%, sharing the employee's retirement investment. We also have additional savings options through our 403B plan, where employees can elect to have additional funds that come from their paychecks and sent to their 403B provider to allow additional tax savings at retirement. And then all of our collective bargaining agreements have some version of a district retirement incentive that will pay some sick leave out at retirement based on their eligibility, but then it also allows them to continue on the district's health insurance once they reach age 55 and have been employed for either 8 or 10 years with the district. So they can know that as a retiree, if you retire early, you do have an option for medical coverage through the district. Of course, we offer paid time off, just depending on the collective bargaining agreement for which you work under, so the district can support work-life balance and employee well-being. We're excited about some new things coming our way. The Human Resources Department and the Payroll Department are working together to implement a new, more robust online benefits management system, which will be improving our accuracy, efficiency, and the employee experience. And then Brown & Brown, at no additional cost to us, is bringing us a mobile benefits app, which will be great for the spouses or maybe the college kids on the plan that need to have quick access to the plan, and they can do that now through an app. We'll be able to send text-based communications about benefits, which is great because employees, if they have a language, if English is not their first language, that makes it a lot easier for them to switch it to their first language. We'll be creating a centralized mental health resource and a centralized mental health resource guide just to help support families with their mental health. In the end, we've covered the impact of a strong benefits package, what a strong benefits package has on total staff compensation. We've seen some teacher compensation data. We know that a strong benefit program supports recruitment and retention. It promotes employee health and engagement. It reduces turnover, protects instructional continuity, and supports student outcomes. Our support of our benefit program also aligns with our district staff excellence priority. At this time, I ask the board to acknowledge the employee benefits report, and then I welcome any questions.
Can I get a motion to acknowledge the Human Resource Benefits Report?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Becky, there is absolutely no question that we take care of our people. That what you have control over in terms of the benefit, you all are putting our people first. So that's the good news. The news that we want to know more about is because you get to sit in the seat of hearing and doing the exit reports, as well as negotiating salaries. We know from this report that we also have up below the national average in our salary. What would be a magic number if you could wave the magic wand that would put you in a position so that we can be more competitive? How would that swing or look for beginning and average?
Well, looking at the national total compensation comparison, I believe that might be like slide number 5, you know, we're certainly not that far off, Nan. If you look at total compensation, the average across the state is 96.2, we're at 84.3. I think we've done what we can with employee benefits, and salary is the next part. Now, how much, I don't know how much salary is possible. We need more salary to bring that up.
Yeah, noted.
Okay.
Definitely. So I appreciate that. And I know it puts you in a tricky position, but I think it's okay to address that we have a competitive labor market.
Right.
And we also know that we want to be able to compete because staff excellence has a direct impact on the outcomes in terms of student achievement. And so we want to continue to do our part to partner with you all to be able to continue to give you that advantage to be competitive. So
Thank you.
To me, it's amazing. I don't know about the rest of you, but I didn't think about retirement until I retired. So, I mean, I did some things, but South Dakota retirement system in the Sioux Falls School District, it's good stuff. I don't know how we can motivate people to whatever. You know, when you hire somebody and tell them you get these many dollars, that's about it. But when they figure out everything that's involved, I think our insurance program's got to be one of the top ones in Sioux Falls. I don't know that, but I know it's good because I retired and went on another system, and I pay a lot more for prescriptions. And I think I had a better deal when I was working here. So I'm proud of that. And thank you.
I guess I'll just piggyback off of that. Being the former employee, I don't feel like I took advantage of all the opportunities that you had, and you would see them pop up and you're like, I'll get to it later. And then you didn't, and then you like totally regret it later. I did do the health and wellness one when I was here, and it helped cover I think my Planet Fitness or something, because I did that program, which was really nice because, you know, I think it was 35. So to see it go up to 45 to be reimbursed, that's, you know, any penny pinching that people are doing, that's awesome to have that opportunity. And then the retirement, like Mark said, like I've never found another opportunity out in the work field since being in the district or a part of any school district that does this for people. So it is, and even though it doesn't look like it on your paycheck, like that's something that I probably took for granted working in the district and now not. You realize what an advantage that is and how you're going to be able to take care of yourself later down the line. So, yeah, just again, if you're listening, get into those benefits and truly understand them and support yourself. And then just speaking to the mental health and wellness, all the opportunities you have. We talk about burnout and how teachers are struggling. Just reach out and get those opportunities in front of you and take advantage of those things. So they're out there. Sometimes we just have to ask the question. So thank you for having those available for everyone.
welcome. And thank you to those that serve on the insurance committee and give the feedback because it's noted and acted upon. Dr. Knoll, I saw you, or Gail, I'm sorry.
I just want to say that our staff Our staff is the most important resource we have and the best asset we have in this district. And I love how we take care of them. And that's such an important part of being an employee in this district, is how you take care of your people. Because our people are what take care of our students. And that's what we're all about here in the schools. And so I want to thank you for continuing to look for ways to take care of our people. And you're a master at it, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I think our people means every person. It's not just teachers.
Yep.
So I'm hoping that we're doing something there, and I think we are right.
When we're looking at giving benefits at 21 plus hours, that was a goal that we had several years ago, and we made that happen.
That's exactly what I wanted to close on, is we take care of the staff that we have here and value the work that they do, and the benefits package is an incredible piece of that. So when Ms. Dorman and I talked about it, it's do not hold anything back. Make sure you show that full amount of the benefits that we have for our staff in the Sioux Falls School District, and that's a great part of the salary and the overall compensation. So thank you very much.
Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have acknowledged your report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Veek, you have our legislative report this evening.
Well, as I get ready here, Shelley is going to drive this because I didn't do a very good job last time, so I was told. So she's going to keep it. Shelley updates this every day on what goes on in the committees and whatnot. So she knows this document very well. So she's going to, this is what is on this document here is on our website. There's that QR code for people following at home or wherever. They want to go in and click on that, and because what's going to be on the board up there is going to be very hard to see. As soon as I get logged in here, I'll get going. This is just so I can keep track of what I'm doing too. So we've gone through bills twice, once at the last regular meeting and once at the work session. We got down to everything but two constitutional amendments, and then that last day, I think close to 20 bills dropped in. So we've got about 20 bills to go through. I'm going to start on the House bills. And well, before I start, I'm going to start at 1281. That's where we left off. But before I start on that, I'm just going to give you an update on some bills up above that were key bills, and just tell you where they're at. So I'll start with House Bill 1051. That's a state aid 0% no property taxes bill. We were opposed to that, and that is still sitting in appropriations. House Bill 1082 we supported. It's free meals for reduced price students who currently would pay 40 cents for lunch and 30 for breakfast. That is in appropriations as well. House Bill 1205 is greater of 3% inflation instead of the lesser of 3% inflation for state aid. It barely got out of House Ed, and it was sent to appropriations. So that's where, honestly, appropriations is where a lot of bills go to die. But that's where that bill is at. And then House Bill 1281 is where we're gonna kind of start. We're gonna do it, if that's okay, like we did it last time, which is, I'll just give you the bill number, kind of what it does, hopefully fast, what our position is, and then unless the bill's a key position, I'm not gonna kind of go through what that position is. You can go out there and read it. If you have questions on any of them, just stop me, and I'm gonna skip over dead bills, at least that I know of, as of coming in here tonight. So House Bill 1281 reduces the sales and use tax on food to increase rates for certain taxes, use taxes and excise taxes to provide a new fund for loans for sparse districts. Really doesn't affect us. We recommend no position on that bill. House Bill 1282 has died already. House Bill 1285 amends provisions pertaining to the timing of municipal and school district elections. I think this bill might be well intended. It's just written really poorly. I'll give you an example. There's a line in here that says 13710 we'll read as follows. Each school district must hold a regular election each odd numbered year. Now, I don't think it means to say that because we just got rid of our odd numbered elections recently, and I think I've heard from others who want to do that as well. It's just weirdly written. So we have it as amend, but I really don't know exactly what the bill is trying to do because of all the kind of strange syntax. But amend is what we have that bill right now. House Bill 1306 authorizes the provision of charitable contributions to a scholarship granting organization for use by parents of homeschool students. We have that as opposed. House Bill 1307 limits the annual increase in assessed valuation of each owner-occupied single-family dwelling to 3% per year unless the dwelling had an addition. We have on that an amend, which is without an adjustment greater than 3% when the house is sold, the bill will chill new house construction. Because I mean, if they never go up, and then you're going to build a new house 20 years from now, all these houses will be low, and nobody wants to buy a new house because the house is going to cost $100,000 for the same house. $100,000 or $200,000 more. And so anyway, most of these things that do this, when somebody buys a house, it resets the deal. So that's what we would suggest on that. House Bill 308 reduces certain property taxes for owner-occupied property and increases the gross receipts tax. There's several bills like this. We oppose. We support the governor's bill. We already said that last time. His plan for property tax relief. House Bill 1309 restricts the processing of online personal data of individuals 16 years of age or younger. We're neutral on that. House Bill 1312 limits annual valuation increases on another one of those bills. Again, we support the governor's bill. We're opposed to that. And House Bill 1313 requires education in prenatal human growth and development. We oppose that bill. House Bill 13. So those are the House bills. We'll move on. Without any questions, we'll move on to Senate. Now on the Senate side, I think I do have some. I'm going to start after Senate Bill 216 with the two Senate joint resolutions, so that I'll be down there around 216. A few bills before that, SB 58 had the 0 mill levies, and that is dead. SB 85, all school opt-outs must have an election. That died last week. However, its evil stepbrother has emerged in the Senate. So we'll talk about that bill in a little bit. SB 96 is the governor's tax reduction plan. It's sitting in taxation. And SB 157 was a 2-year enrollment averaging option for districts. That died already. And we will go down and now to Senate Bill 216 and then look at those joint resolutions. If I can find it on my sheet. Okay, so we had 2 joint resolutions we didn't get to on Wednesday. One proposes a constitutional amendment, essentially limit property taxes to at most 1%. That's 10 mills. Most houses right now in the state are over 10 mills, probably all commercial property is. We oppose that. Senate, or SJR 507 would submit to the voters, not a constitutional amendment, but a law, which would reduce certain property taxes for owner-occupied property and increase the rates for certain grocers. It's kind of the same deal. They're just trying to do it with have a referral to the electorate to do. We oppose that just like all the other bills because we're supporting the governor's plan. Senate Bill 218 provides for the establishment of charter schools. We oppose that, and that is a key bill. The blanket exemption from state rules would lead to a lack of accountability. There's some other thoughts there as well. Senate Bill 220 authorizes a comprehensive study of juvenile, correctional, and residential facilities. We are neutral on that. Senate Bill 223 modifies the requirements for a petition to refer an excess tax levy of a school district. We are opposed. It's a key bill. That bill was amended in committee today from 50 signatures to 5% of the voters in the previous board election. Now we had about just under 3,000 votes in our last election. So that would be around 150 signatures that was needed versus 5,500 last year. So we oppose that bill. It looks like, we're taking a second bite at the apple after Senate Bill 85 was killed. It's basically a one-size-fits-all. It isn't quite anymore, but it really doesn't expand that because they know that turnouts in school board elections are fairly low. And even, we will be joining with the primary election this year. Well, the last primary election was about 10% turnout in Minnehaha County, so it's still not an overwhelming turnout. So it isn't like people don't vote in the board meetings, but they vote for the legislature because it's still pretty low turnouts for both. Just one thing, I missed the commentary today, but I've listened to a lot of it on this, and I know some of you were there, so you got to hear it. But one thing that keeps getting said is, why shouldn't the people have a say when they being school districts, and it's nobody else either, it's just school districts, not counties, cities, water districts, ambulance districts, anything else, nobody else, these rules just apply to us. But why shouldn't the people have a say if they are gonna go over the allowed amount? And they is the school districts, and the allowed amount is the amount set by the legislature. Well, I brought this up Wednesday, but I refined it a little bit to give the state a break and take a break away from us. What we have been allowed to go up since 2008, including our opt-out, which are last year, or in 2024, which is the year I have data for both for, our opt-out was $11 million. So our increase per student over that period of time was 53.5%. Now, I don't know if that seems like a lot. It's 16 years. It's, simple interest is a little over 3, but compound interest is probably about 3%. But over that exact same period of time, if you look at the state sales tax and you take out the property tax relief they did in 2017, their increase is 91.2%. And they don't opt out ever. They have a sales tax that just rides. It goes up. Sometimes it's low. Sometimes it even goes down a little bit. But it averages about 4.5% a year. And they just ride that. And if a school feels like it needs more than 3%, they have violated what the amount they're supposed to have, and everybody should vote on it. And nobody votes on theirs except them. The 105 of them, and it's dominated. It's basically a one-party operation out there, and it's dominated, and nobody ever calls that. In 2016, when they raised the sales tax 0.5%, so it would have been referable because that's a law that got passed. They put an emergency clause on it. So it's not, what's good for thee is not necessarily good for me, is what you hear a lot out from. And it's kind of getting old, hearing the same old refrain year in and year out, and so much this year. So anyway, we'll move on to Senate Bill 225 apportions interest earnings from the unclaimed property fund to school districts. I have support on that, but anytime there's a fund for schools, it just gets rolled into the state aid, and then they'll give you what you're going to get for state aid. So it's really not going to probably be extra money. Senate Bill 229 requires an election to improve the issuance of capital outlay certificates unless the total project amount is under $50,000, $50,000. This came out of a complaint in one of the opt-out deals where a school up north had a failure of a bond election, and then did capital outlay certificates. And if you do them to an extent under 1.5% of your valuation, it isn't referable. But if it's over that, then it is, and then you vote on it. And they split theirs up into 3 to keep it under the 1.5. So that committee heard that, and one of the members put this in here. 50,000 is a ridiculously low amount to have on here. So we have that as a oppose and key bill on that as well. Senate Bill 242 makes an appropriation of $2.5 million to provide grants to sparse districts. We put a pose on that because we're all struggling. We got 1.75% under where we were supposed to get last year, and this year we're zero funded right now anyway. So if there's $2.5 million to dole out, let's split it over everybody, not just the sparse school, which that would be a ton of money for the sparse school districts because they don't have that many students. 243 imposes a transaction tax and dedicates revenues collected to supplant certain property taxes. Again, we oppose. We support the governor's plan. 167 amends provisions pertaining to the administration of an academic achievement assessment to students in grade. This isn't on your list. I just found out I missed it. I missed it earlier. Put it on there. We have that as a support. I'll read what our position statement is because you don't have it in front of you. Some of you might, but it's not online for the home users right now. Multiple grade 11 assessment students. Our assessment supports diverse college and career pathways while maintaining statewide consistency. Students, with the support of their guidance counselor or administrator, select the assessment that best fits the student's goals. 11th grade students who are partially enrolled in the district, at least 50%, must take one of the DOE approved assessments. And that is it. Stand by for any questions. Otherwise, I'd prefer it if you would approve the positions as presented. Thanks.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the positions presented?
Second.
Questions, discussion? Todd, I'd like to go back for a second on Senate Bill 223. When you're referring to kind of they, I just want to add some clarity around that. In that it seemed as if the proponents for the bill felt that local taxpayers, they would like to see them have more input into the school district's budget. And one thing, when we were there, we reminded people that we have a robust budget process with many touch points for public input. And we're just not, over the course of the last 8 years, I've not gotten a whole lot of feedback. So what that tells us is that the budget that we establish yearly seems to be one that the majority of people are supportive of because we're just not getting any feedback. So as locally elected officials, that's one of our primary roles, is to listen to our constituents, and we're not getting feedback that we're setting a budget that is not favorable to the majority of people. But the feedback that we do get is that the state is not able to keep up with the inflation, which really puts the responsibility back to us as a district. And that is why the opt-out was created over 30 years ago. So we, being the locally elected officials, and our state legislature has a process that we've been utilizing for the past 30 years that thankfully helps us to meet that gap. So that would be the feedback that we are getting, to simplify it. And it just seemed, being there and listening to the proponents and the opponents, that it's not clear what the goal is and the intent of the bill, because it's certainly not solving for property tax issues. And it's definitely not addressing the education funding. So we just weren't quite clear what the bill is trying to solve for. The bill does not change the cost of educating a child.
I don't want to get started.
Well, I think we should, and we need, and I have confidence that the support, those that support public education, which we have 84 or 83% of Sioux Falls, 83, that
Yep.
differs from the whole state, but 83% of the kids in Sioux Falls are public educated. And I have confidence that we have great support for public education by both the legislature and our local citizenry. And if there's feedback that we need to hear, we'd want to hear that. That's part of our responsibility.
The part that I think is often missed is last year we removed, a significant about $3 million worth of the ongoing budget. This year we'll remove another with obviously board approval, but we'll present that coming up once we go through the whole budget process. Another $1 to $2 million removed from the budget. And the premise is that the school is just picking what number they want and taking the money that they want and overspending. We continue to look at our budget and continue to look for areas that we can reduce costs, and we've done that. We use the opt-out because there's just times that we are not being funded by the state appropriately to be able to keep up, while we continue to add the benefits and the salaries to make ourselves be competitive and to provide the services to our kids. And we'll continue to commit to our community that we will look for areas that we can reduce costs so we can make sure that we take only what is needed. I think what's often missed is also what we have that we could take for opt-out, we've not taken that. We take maybe a little over somewhere about 70% of it. And so we leave multiple millions of dollars untouched and not taken and not charged that we leave there because we do not need them. And we look for efficiencies to be able to take first and foremost. And so our budget process has been very solid, and our board members are elected officials from our community, and we've heard over and over the great support from our community.
And I would like to add, a week ago, we got feedback from the Property Tax Committee, and the quote, they find our budget to be lean. They don't know where they'd make cuts, so it speaks to the job that you all are doing.
I would just add to Dr. Nold's comments that we opt out for an amount bigger than we actually take based on the advice of the Finance Action Network, which is several individuals in the city who are business folks, and they're in the financial aspect. They're either CFOs or their business is dollars, auditing or what auditors and whatnot. So they're very in tune to that. And their recommendation to this board was that you should have a little bit of a cushion in there. So if you get another year where we get an 8.6% cut, you don't have to just destroy your budget overnight. And so that is why, if you're listening at home and you're wondering, well, why do you opt out for an amount that not take it all? It's there for an emergency. And as Dr. Nold said, we don't take it just because it's there.
And you'd think of anybody who would understand reserve funds, it would be our legislators.
Oh. We'll probably end on that.
Okay, sounds good. Just need a vote.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That is passed. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. We have a report for our review revised policies and regulation. Do you want to give us a little context surrounding that?
Yes,
Brett?
on to brighter topics like policies. Tonight I have 9 policies on behalf of the Policy Review Committee. This is part of our continual review of our policies and regulations. These are up for approval tonight on a review revise with minor revisions to the policies or their accompanying regulations. I'll just go through the policies quick. The first is our employee policy on nepotism. There's just a minor grammatical change in that one. Same thing with the next one. That's the employee conflict of interest, and that's just a fixed reference to a defined term. That was a grammatical mistake in there. And then staff gifts and solicitations, no change to that policy. Our drug-free workplace, there's just minor change to that one to account for digital record keeping. And then our drug alcohol testing for commercial drivers, just a minor change there to the time frame for the testing. Policy for alcohol-free workplace, no changes to that one. Searches of employee property and district-owned or provided property, again, just a minor change there to account for digital record keeping. Staff participation in community activities, we just have a minor change there to align that policy with our district priorities, our strategic priorities. And then finally, our community resource people, there's just a small reference change to a title of a employee position. And that's the extent of the changes. If you have no questions, I'd ask for adoption of the policies on our review revise. Thank you.
I'll make that motion to approve the review and revise of our policies and regulations as presented.
Discussion. Gail, or I know Elizabeth is listening. Do you have any feedback?
No, I think Mr. Aaron's explained it well, and we've seen these before, and we haven't had any comments, so I think it's good.
Just giving Elizabeth a second. Okay, seeing no other comments, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Those have been approved. Thank you. Gail?
Before we adjourn, I just wanted to take a moment, if I could, to say that every month on our personnel report, we see a lot of great people who are heading towards retirement or leaving our district for a lot of different ways. And this month was so different, no different than the fact that we're losing a lot of great people. And the one that impacts those of us sitting here at this table the most is the gentleman sitting to my right. And it's going to mean a lot to us that he's leaving our district, but I highly recommend retirement. So congratulations, Mr. Veek.
Thank you, Gail.
Mr. Beek, would you like to say anything?
Just spoke for 4 minutes.
Oh, well, super. Well, we would all echo Gail's sentiment and feel the same, and I wasn't aware that that was public yet, so I didn't say anything, but I believe that Gail got the email and I didn't see it because I was driving. Excellent. So thank you, Gail, for acknowledging Todd, and we certainly have more to come in acknowledging his years of service and his expertise and the impact that has made on the district. So thank you, Mr. Beek. With that, we will, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.